Hi everybody, welcome to this week. This is the week of February 22nd. This is a week just like last week that is not anything inside of Edmentum. So everything here is going to be links on this calendar page. You basically have 3 assignments to do this week. We're going to be studying a type or an interesting thing that occurred in the history of the Earth called the rise of the mammals. Back when, at the end of the dinosaurs, you remember that you've seen the story, you've heard the story, right? This comet or this meteor hit the Earth, and the climate changed. The dinosaurs died off, almost all of them. We still have reptiles today, so any reptile that you see is a remnant of the dinosaurs that were left. They were the ones that figured out how to survive, but they were the dominant species on the Earth for millions of years. Okay, long time more than humans. They dominated the Earth. But when that comet hit the Earth and it changed, huge differences in the climate of the Earth, huge differences, and they just couldn't handle it. Their biochemistry, their metabolism just couldn't handle it, and so the only ones that survived were the small ones, like the lizards, or the ones that could change their biochemistry to adapt to the colder climates. And there are a few. Alligators today are a great example of larger lizards. They're nowhere near as big as Tyrannosaurus rex or Brontosaurus, but they're some of the largest lizards, reptiles left on the Earth, and they can survive even freezing temperatures. One of the most amazing videos I've ever seen came out of North Carolina, and this guy's walking through the woods of North Carolina, and he comes to this frozen pond, and you look and there's these bumps in the pond, and you go up close and it's the snout of an alligator who is right there, and they're in the frozen water, but they keep their nose just up out of the water so that they can still breathe, but they're underwater and they're basically frozen, and when it thaws out they're going to come back. Now that was an adaptation that they had to have because the climate never did that before that comet hit. But when that comet hit, they had to survive in a much colder climate, and the ones that did, and that was the ones that had these special adaptations, like those alligators, or the ones that got smaller ones were able to survive better. Now we just had a very cold climate change down here in South Florida. A cold front came through. We had right at freezing temperatures, and down in Miami there are feral lizards, where people had a pet lizard and then didn't like it, so they let it go. And there's a bunch of those down there, and they're breeding, and they're an invasive species. But an interesting thing happens when when the temperatures get too cold. They literally freeze, and what they called them, lizard popsicles or something. And there's a funny story about a guy who grabbed a bunch of them up off the ground. I'm not sure what he's going to do with them, but he put a bunch of them in the back of his car, and he was taking them somewhere. I thought he was going to show his kid or something. But these things were frozen now, right? He puts them in his car, his heater's on in his car, and this only happened a few years ago. You can look it up. And the daggum things thawed out, and they started crawling around on him, and he had to pull over real fast and let them out. But there are reptiles that can survive a freezing type of environment, but only a few. Most of the reptiles died off. Interestingly enough, at almost that exact same time in the history of the Earth, some reptiles had evolved changes that were moving towards a colder climate. Their scales had kind of elongated and had become more like hair. They changed the way they gave birth to their young. They had changed their metabolism, and this was all just random, right? Through natural selection. But had that comet not hit the Earth, they would have probably stayed these little squirrel-like things that were just running around the ground, just hoping to not get eaten by a T-Rex or stomped on by a T-Rex, probably. But when that comet hit, everything changed, and as a result, all of a sudden, one of the best adapted organisms for living on this new changed climate Earth was this little thing that scurried around on the ground but could keep itself warm, gave birth to live young, nursed these live young to where they would survive birth, and now all of a sudden mammals, the very first mammals, were scurrying everywhere. In that time frame, I think that was 350 million years ago. In that time frame, from 350 million years ago to now, every mammal that you've ever seen or heard of came to be as a result of natural selection. From that squirrel, we got every mammal. Now think about what that means, okay? That means that we got elephants, rhinoceroses, horses, cats, dogs, cows, monkeys, sloths, lemurs, tarsiers, okay, tapirs. We're going to study rhinoceros and tapirs and horses next week. Here's an interesting thing that you may not understand, you may not get yet, but we're going to talk about it in our second video. Whales, dolphins, killer whales, orcas, seals, sea lions, these are all mammals. And I want you to start thinking about the implications of that. So anyway, the assignments this week, I hope you find this week relatively easy, and I want you guys to get caught up. Okay, so this week, next week are going to be catch-up weeks. The assignment is, there's not a full week's assignments. Okay, there's only 3. There's no test, just 3 assignments this week. So you just do these 3 assignments and be done, and then get caught up with the other stuff. Go look at your grades, anything you're missing. But essentially every day you're going to watch a video. I will admit that today's video is a little long. It's about 45 minutes, but you're going to love it. All right. And then there's an assignment to go with it called Rise of the Mammals, assignment number 1. That's right here. And when you get through with this assignment, well, we're going to say it's right here. If I touch it, it shows me. Yeah, I don't want that. So when you get through with this assignment, when you get through watching a video, you complete this assignment, and that's all you got to do. These are even shorter. These are only 6 and 5 minute videos for Tuesday and Wednesday. But you watch the video and stop that and complete the assignment, and that's it. And all 3 of these assignments are Google Forms, and that's all you do for the week. But do a good job, please, and then start working on getting caught up. The best way to find out if you're behind is to look in Skyward. Go look at your grade in Skyward and see if you have any zeros. A lot of you guys have zeros because for some reason you didn't see last week's assignment. So go look at your grade in Skyward, and if you have zeros, make them up. If you have grades below a 60, no, it's below an 80, isn't it? If you have a grade that's below an 80% and you want to fix it, shoot me an email. Hey, Mr. Thomas, I didn't do so well on that quiz. Can I redo it? And the answer will always be yes if it's your first time. If it's your second time, we're going to have a little discussion, and then I might let you do it. Okay, but you always get one shot at retaking any assignment. Okay, so go back and look at your grades and get them jumped up, because a lot of you guys have grades below 80%. All right, that's everything for this week. Good luck and get to work.